All right, MCAT nerds, let's talk about enzymes. This is going to be introductory to enzymes. So we're going to talk about what they are and the types that we need to know. So first off, what are enzymes? Enzymes just help a reaction go faster. That is it. They help it go faster. They don't change the equilibrium. They don't change the concentration of reactants or products. They just make it go faster. Okay, so we have a substrate here and it turns into its products via the enzyme. So this process can happen naturally, but it might take years to happen. It might take years for that to happen. Literally, I'm not exaggerating. So with this enzyme, it can take milliseconds, nanoseconds. I don't know how fast, but really, really fast. So these enzymes are hyper specific for their substrates. So it needs to be the exact fit in there. And then what happens if we look at the curve of the reaction here? So this is an example of a normal curve, okay, without an enzyme. So we have, okay, the substrate gets to its transition state up top here. It gets to its transition state up top there, and then it can get turned into its product at the end. And this is the path of the energy, the amount of energy it takes for all that to happen. I'm sure we've seen this before, but if you haven't, now you know. So what an enzyme does, an enzyme comes in and it lowers the activation energy. Notice how it didn't change the starting position or the ending position. Like I said, the equilibrium doesn't change. So it's only affecting the speed. The activation energy is the speed. So the higher the activation energy, the slower it is. But the lower the activation energy, the faster it is. So the enzyme is only affecting the speed. And you'll get a lot of questions about that specifically, like what does an enzyme affect? It's only the speed. We do need to memorize some different types of enzymes here. So a hydrolase is an enzyme that cleaves things. Specifically, it cleaves using water. Hydrolases cleave using water. We also have a lyase, which also cleaves. It's an enzyme that also cleaves, but it just does not need water. Without water, it cleaves bonds without water. Ligases is the opposite of a hydrolase and lyase. It combines two things. So you might have heard the term ligand, which is two things coming together. It combines two molecules. Transferases transfers a functional group from one molecule to another. An isomerase creates a new isomer of the molecule. The great thing about these enzymes is they kind of speak for themselves. An oxidoreductase performs a redox reaction. Okay, so those are the common enzymes that we need to memorize. Like, subscribe, leave comments down below what you think.